Yeah, okay, now that's done. So I also threw in a message that the serous membranes were part of the digestive system lecture, but I didn't specifically spell out that there would be any questions on Thursday on the serous membranes. But there's going to be about 5, and I'm making them bonus questions. In other words, you can get 105 points on it. Okay. One person who emailed me said his house is in okay spot, but he may have to go and help his brother move. Okay, just like you wanted to be with your family and such. But where is everybody going to be by Thursday?
We don't know.
Mean, I don't know either. But I can also do it at a different time on Thursday for some people. Okay? In other words, I know you can't be all day, all night on this unless you're actually right in the fire. And of course,
I think for me, it's not so much that I won't have time on Thursday. I just didn't have time yesterday and today really to study or do anything or focus. So for me, at least, it was just like, I don't know, minimizing the amount of stress. I don't know. Sorry if I'm not making sense.
No, you're making sense. We're all under stress of one sort or another. My stress right now is to figure out how to keep everybody happy, to keep the course on track. That's my job. And at the same time, well, basically that. The one good thing is true. We are ahead, on material. So if I wanted to move the test, I could move it and I would not lose a day, really. Okay. But what will I do with Thursday? Just call it off? Just make myself available like we're doing right now for anybody who wants to plug in?
And maybe some more review or something.
Have more practice quizzes due. We do more practice quizzes.
No, I gave you 2 practice quizzes and 1 on the heart. So I gave you 3 practice quizzes. And that's studying. So, I mean, if we're going to make room for more studying, we should make a sizable amount of room for more studying and then push the test off to Tuesday. You guys, I don't seem to have it. There's the little yellow hand. You know what I'm talking about?
Mine's blue, but I don't know what you're talking about. Yes.
There, they've got it. You got a little blue hand.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not very
and
good
other people do.
Technology.
Okay. Well, I was going to say a stupid thing. I was going to say, who can't find it? How are they going to show it to me if they can't find it? Okay. What I intended to do today is only review with you. Okay, I had done 2 or 3 of the lectures already, and I think the next one was to be reviewed was the heart. And then after that, I have more material on the vessels, but that's not for this test. So I really don't want to do anything that isn't for this test. No new material, especially since we have, I feel, quite a bit of time. Okay, so I've got 20.
Hey, Harry, I had a quick question. Oh, sorry.
You can go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem, but on 9:15 and 9:17, the lecture recording you gave us, for some reason on my computer, it says there's an error and like I can't look at it on YouTube or anything.
9, what?
9:17.
Okay, and did you have another one?
I don't know if we did a lecture recording on 9/15, but it's week 5.
Okay, I'm probably able to fix that. Okay, I go back to YouTube and I make sure that they're all tagged as public. When they're not tagged as public, you don't get to see them. And there was one in there that I had to move from unlisted to public, but they should all be public right now.
Okay,
But,
so maybe I should just, because when I still keep on clicking on it, it won't work. So maybe I should just go on to, because I can see all the rest of them, but maybe I should just go on your YouTube and find it through there, right?
Yeah, I don't know how I even find my own YouTube. It's automatic, you know, but it'll be under Charles Harrison.
Alrighty, thank you.
I think I'm having the same problem as Dana. I just checked like right now. The 917 recording is not like working. It's not loading up on YouTube. I think it's on private for some reason.
Yeah, and did we record on 9/15 too?
We didn't record every day. I think we missed a day.
Okay, so maybe that's 9/15, but the 9/17 is the one that we're having a problem with.
Okay. Well, once we share screens and get off of our talk here, one of the first things I'll do is we'll just check it right now, see what's going on.
Okay, perfect.
The problem with not everybody being here, well, we got 21, which is less than ever, and that's to be expected, is that if I change the date on anything, sure enough, there's going to be those 9 and some of the others that haven't spoken yet who don't want it changed and don't need it changed. I can't make up a second test. You have no idea how much time this takes, and I have the weekend scheduled north of Los Angeles. So not that I can't take a computer, but I didn't intend to go there to do that. So I have to think it through, possibly giving the test at different times of the day. Okay, that's one possibility. To take it in the evening when you're probably settled down. Okay. Throw me your ideas. Mine I heard yours.
Well, maybe we could do like a mandatory like discussion board or something, and like get a popular vote or something. You know what I mean? I don't know.
We could see if anyone is actually against it. I'd
raise
imagine
your hand thing.
everybody.
That's what I was asking about the yellow hands. I wanted to use them, but I didn't see yellow hands come up for everybody, so I don't think everybody can vote.
Okay, how about put up your yellow hands if you do not want to postpone the test. If you want to have it on Thursday, put up a yellow hand.
No, that doesn't say anything about the people who can't put up a yellow hand. So first off,
I see what you're saying.
First off, everybody put up a yellow hand or a blue hand.
Hey, is this for not having tests? What's
No, this is just to see that everybody can vote.
I don't
You know, Chase?
I can't find mine.
It's under the reactions with the smiley face.
next to share screen?
Okay, got you there. Nikki, did you find it?
I still can't find it. I don't have I can't find the reaction.
Emoji. Where's this say use this yellow hand? You guys have this thing. Is that it?
No, you don't have anything on there.
Bottom right next to participants. There should be a reactions, or you can click on participants, and then in the tab that opens up, there's also a reactions part. I think at the bottom.
I want to do the raised hand thing. I want to do this one.
You got it. Tyler, did you find it? Sandra,
Okay, I found it.
can you show it? There it is. Nikki, you found something.
Oh wait, there's like a yes or no button on the
No,
participants, right?
it's nothing. it's like you're registered to vote. You haven't voted yet. I just need to know that you're registered. Tyler, are you still there?
Well, it says he's connecting. Tyler's the odd man out.
Okay. Here's the deal. Thank you for showing me that you have the hands, but I'm the one that's going to have to decide this. This, is not, like getting a Supreme Court justice in or some crap like that, and then you don't know what you're getting into. I'll have to decide it, and those who can't abide by the decision or can't really, really are stressed by the decision, you're going to have to write me, and you and I will figure out what we will do for you. Okay. I think most of the people, if they're available, have had more than enough time to study for this test. I know you say you didn't have time in the last 2 days, but we've had the last ever since 9/8, I think it was. So we've had a lot of time to be studying for this test. I don't really want to push it off. If I do push it off, it's going to be for everyone though. Okay, and then if I push it off, if somebody can't do that day, well, first off, they're enrolled for that day, so there's really no reason they can't do it. Okay, and they would have to give me a pretty good reason and a pretty good solution for that. I'm not going to put this to a vote. I'm sorry. There's no chance for discussion. I'm doing most of it. Anthony's done a lot, and mine has done most of it. Okay, and
Right.
I'll get it decided, and I'll get it back to you tonight. You're welcome to write to me though, and put your 2 cents worth in if you don't think I know it already. Okay. I could ask you what you do in my spot, but I don't care because I'm the one in my spot. Okay, I've got to decide this and how we're going to do it. Okay, and be fair to everybody. Okay. Okay, so any no, nothing's changed as of right now. The test is still 2 o'clock on Thursday, and you have 80 minutes for it. I feel that's plenty of time, and we're going to review some more for it right now, whether or not it stays on Thursday or moves elsewhere. Okay. Any further questions? Okay. I've got a reading assignment though for you this week for when the test is over, and it's posted for you. It's chapter 15, again, the autonomic nervous system. It shows a lot of the drawings that I use in the lecture. This is the lecture material that I'm not giving you today, okay, because it frankly is the toughest. Okay, so I'm going to look through it on chapter 15, which in my book starts around 468. And you can make notes if you need to. The first page, everything. The diagram on the second page, optional, 15-2, optional. Quite complicated to be the second page. It belongs at the end of the chapter. Okay. Continue the reading though on the third page. Divisions of the autonomic nervous system. That goes into sympathetic and parasympathetic. Then we have a clinical application, which we know we can skip. The divisions continue right after that. The table 15.1, yes, it makes the comparisons between the two sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. And it's a little bit different than one I gave you the other day, but it's fine. So table 15.1 and the reading on that page. And then you come to the parasympathetic division. Read that. I haven't eliminated any reading yet. It continues till you get to the sympathetic division, and you want to read that. Figure 15.5 is optional, might be helpful to you, but take a look at it, but there's nothing to construct an outline for. Table 15.2, no, N-O, no to 15.2, way too specific. But the reading, the text that's on the bottom of that page is a continuation of the earlier text and needs to be read. Okay. Coming over to sympathetic pathways, we're still reading. These I'm going to be showing to you. And that being the case, all I want you to do on sympathetic pathways is read the first paragraph and the three indented numbers 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then stop. Stop the chapter at that point. There's a lot more in it, but there's a lot more in the lecture that we'll be saving for a later time. Okay. I don't want to put that lecture off. I've already put it off by not giving it today. I put it off till obviously at least next Tuesday. If the test were to move, then that lecture would probably have to bump to the following Thursday, and now we'd be behind. I won't let that happen. Being ahead's great, being behind isn't. So if the test moves, the lecture will go on Thursday. Okay. But of course, that one will be recorded and you can see it at your own time. You just don't get to ask any questions that you may have. And it's one of those lectures that begs for lots of questions. Okay.
Professor, what if we have the test on Tuesday at like 1 and then by 2 we can just come for lecture?
Do you know how hard it was for me when we first started this class? I wanted one-on-one meetings with each of you so that we could see that our equipment was working and everything. And when I strayed from the 2 o'clock hour, I couldn't get people. I could not get people. They signed up for 2 o'clock, and they are not even, many of them are not flexible, so I can't do that.
We signed up for what the class was from 2 p.m. to was it 6 p.m. right?
No,
the class is
it's at the class, if it you used it all in Zoom, would go on Tuesdays from 2 to 7 and from Thursday 2 to 6. We don't use all that time. And the reason for that is normally there's a 1-hour lecture approximately, and I give that. And then there's a 1-hour lab lecture, and I give that. Then normally people take the other 2 hours to do the lab, but you can't. You don't have any physical things to grab a hold of. So there's material for you to look at and photos. But that answers your question. About 2 to 6, let's say.
So we usually end early, so I was just thinking we can just add on to after our test, we can just have a lecture after that. I was thinking that.
Oh, yeah. That's wishful thinking at its height. I mean, that sounds good. I would love it, but people, they burn out when that test is over. most people are burned out, but I can figure another time for it. Okay.
Yeah.
I can always squeeze in a lecture someplace. Okay. Okay, let me go on to the shared screen.
Hey Charlie, I actually have a quick question.
Okay.
For the term list, so like I know I've been using that as a study guide, but then I saw the lecture practice quizzes, and they're more like based off like physiology, you know what I mean, rather than terms. So I was just wondering, like, would I want to be more like um, looking at the lecture, like taking examples off the lecture practice exam, or stick to the terms list?
The terms list is just that, a list of terms that you should be able to uh, uh, know what they are, maybe even use in a sentence or something like that. You need to know what those terms are when they're because they get used in the sentences and questions that you're referring to. Now, I don't think that there's too much physiology, not deep physiology in the other portion, but every bit of those questions, every one of those questions in the practice quiz mirrors or is I've stolen from myself and taken them right out of previous exams. Okay, those are the types of questions. If you compare exam one that you took, I assume that you can still get to it. It's the same type of question. So all of that material is in the lecture material.
Okay, for sure. All right, thank you.
Okay. Now, under modules. Okay, one thing I did, starting at week 5, because we did start the digestive system on 9/15, I indented, and I have indented here. That means that these two indented notes, these are part of L2, the lecture exam. The recording doesn't have to be viewed so long as you were there for the lecture and understood it. If you weren't there, that's when you really wanted the recording. In week 6, here's an indented one, an indented one. These refer to L2. In week 7, all of these refer to L2. Again, there are 2 recordings that you don't have to listen to if you feel you were there. In week 8, there's 4 items here and 2 items down here. These I'm going to review with you right away. Week 9, just a practice test, and here are the terms. So there's really not new material here. And then there's another practice test in the next week, and the second practice test. And then in this week, we're actually in week 11. The only thing that's not indented yet, the second lecture exam itself is going to be right here. Now, the one that you said wouldn't open up is which?
The 917 lecture recording.
Okay, when that happens, okay, Firefox I'm using can't open the page. But if I go up to lecture recording at the very top, there it comes. I don't know why that is, but it's an easy fix.
Mine says video unavailable and it's private.
Oh, okay. Well, let's fix that. It shouldn't be private. I gotta condense this. Move it out of the way. Public, unlisted. Okay. Oh, is it 917?
Hold on one second. That's 917.
Okay. I don't understand this one. Okay. Now it's public.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now let's see if I can uncover where our page is. Here it is. Okay. Looking at the indents, I reviewed the urinary system last week, the respiratory system, practice on the urinary and respiratory system, and the heart and circulatory system. This is where I should begin the review. Okay, now I'll go through it fast, but if you have any questions or I go through it too fast, you stop me, okay? And there it is. Okay, functions of the circulatory system, obviously to distribute oxygen and carbon dioxide in their respective directions to where they're less, always to where they're less. Oxygen to the body, carbon dioxide to the lungs. The distribution of nutrients throughout the body. The distribution of hormones is a function. Regulation of body temperature, clotting, and fighting infection. Okay. I don't think there's anything complicated there, so I'm just tempted to go right past it now. I did get some questions over the weekend that involved this, the drawing here. Arteries always carry blood away from the heart. Always carry blood away from the heart. There are two basic types, muscular arteries and elastic arteries. If we do them in order, the muscular artery is this center one, and it has three layers. An inner layer, very thin, called the tunica intima. Then it has a muscular layer, the tunica media. And on the outside of that, it has the tunica externa, the containing layer. They call these muscular arteries because they do pulse. The smooth muscle in the tunica media helps to force the blood forward. Okay, the heart's pumping in behind it anyway, and so it's going to get a boost that way. Now, sometimes these types of arteries are very large. The aorta, for instance, in the pulmonary trunk around the heart, they're quite large. And they're so large that they can't nourish the tunica media because it's so thick, they can't get blood out into it. The heart vessels have to take care of themselves as well. This tunica media is easy enough, it's small enough, but this one is not. So it has to have its own circulation within it. That circulation is called the vasa vasorum. I'm looking for it on the page for you. Here it is, vasa vasorum. These elastic arteries bulge when when blood is forced into them. From the ventricles to the aorta, for instance, the aorta swells up. And then when the ventricle relaxes, the swollen elastic artery can regain its shape by pushing blood forward and backward, but it can only really push it forward because backward would hit the aortic semilunar valves, which would stop it. So we're pushing blood up through the ventricle to an elastic artery called the aorta. When it gets in there and balloons it, and then the ventricle relaxes, the balloon effect now is such that the pressure against the wall is released and it collapses again. But the only way the blood can go is forward, can't go backward. We have very
Oh.
small, yes.
Which part of that artery actually hardens, causing a burst? Is that the elastic artery?
Well, you can have an aortic dissection, yeah.
Yeah, is that the elastic artery that does that?
That would be an elastic artery.
Does that? Okay.
Okay, the smallest artery, like this one here, is almost a capillary. It also has the intima, the externa, and in between, the media. Okay. A capillary is not an artery and is not a vein. A capillary is a spot where you have gas exchange and nutrient exchange, and you only have a tunica intima in a capillary. There's no muscle. Okay, so here's sort of the definitions. Arterioles are smaller arteries. They're located within organs. When an artery goes into an organ, it becomes an arteriole technically. The capillary is the site of the gas exchange. Venules, once the blood is past the capillary and comes together again, it does so in small veins. And then the veins follow next. These are the vessels returning to the heart, but they're not in the organ anymore. Only the numbers 3, 4, and 5 are in the organ. 6, the veins are outside. Veins have valves. Veins have valves. They don't have muscles to keep that blood flowing. Oh, it's got to flow, or it's going to get stagnant. But it's got to flow, and it's being pushed from behind. And when blood moves forward in a vein, it can't move back because there's a small valve every so often in the veins. Okay. When you see varicose veins, that's because there's many valves that have closed and are closed permanently, and the blood just pools in those spots. The formed elements of the blood are those that you can actually see and not be a fluid. They include the red blood cells, which last about 120 days. One of the places that takes out red blood cells when they finish their 120-day run is the spleen. Another is the liver. Okay. That is one of the functions of the liver, one of the questions I had for you. White blood cells are leukocytes. There's 5 major classes that are listed here, and they're broken into 2 other groups. The first group is the granulocytes that have histones inside of their cytoplasm, small dots, if you will, that you can see under the microscope. Okay, these include 3 types of white blood cells. Neutrophils, I have a picture in a second. These are multi-lobed, 3 or more beads on a string is the way they look, and they are defense against bacterial infection. Eosinophils are bilobed. They have a bilobed nucleus, and they combat parasitic infections such as worms in the blood. Basophils They may have two smaller nuclear lobes on the ends and one larger one between them. And you're not likely to see it. It's the rarest of the white blood cells, the basophil. It combats allergens. So if you have allergies, okay, and pollen or something gets into your system, these will fight it. But in fighting it, they release the histones, and that actually can make the symptoms worse. Agranulocytes is the remaining two, and these do not have the granules in their cytoplasm. They are the largest and smallest of the white blood cells. The monocyte is the largest, and the monocyte primarily is found when we have a recurring or chronic disease such as TB or malaria. We always have these. We have all of the types. When I say monocytes common when we have TB or malaria, I mean it's blown out of proportion to its normal percentages, many more of them. Lymphocytes, the smallest, and they function as all-around cleanup cells. They do help get rid of bacteria, debris, and red blood cells that have died. And they're capable of diapedesis, the cell walking, moving from the circulatory system into the lymphatic system. Now this first one, this one over here is an eosinophil. It has the bilobed nucleus and fights off infection from worms. The neutrophil, multilobed, gets rid of bacteria. The lymphocyte, the smallest one, general cleanup cell. The monocyte, like the lymphocyte, but much bigger. And that was in recurring infections. I don't have a picture of a basophil. Other formed elements include the thrombocytes or platelets. The thrombocyte or platelet is a cellular fragment and will aid in clotting. We have to have air to clot, we have to have thrombocytes or platelets to clot, and we have to have fibrinogen to clot. Sometimes we don't want clotting when blood is being drawn, for instance. We don't want to administer to somebody and find that it's prone to clotting. Okay. So we can remove some of the material. Plasma is blood that all the formed elements have been removed from. All the formed elements, but that does not include fibrinogen, which is a chemical. It's not a formed element. If we remove the fibrinogen as well, then we have serum. Okay, these are going to show up very nicely in the models in just a second, so I'm not going to do them here. Fetal circulation is not a part of this test.
Actually, Charlie, one other question. I wasn't able to find the for the digestive system portion. I wasn't able to find the lesser crap how do you say, like, pronounce it, like, for the stomach, like the lesser Kirchhoff and the lesser Heinemann, that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, I wasn't able to find it in the notes nor on the book. I just kind of wanted to, like, make sure I got the right definition.
I don't know what definition you got, and I can't understand why it wouldn't be in the book. But the lesser curvature is the medial side of the stomach. You know, the lateral side is wide. You can take your open hand and tap your side, but the medial side is much more. I'm on the wrong page, unfortunately, here to be answering that question. Okay, well,
I think it's on the last page of that lecture that he's talking about.
here, okay. This is the lesser curvature here. It's not labeled on this diagram. Here's the greater curvature. Let me look for it again. Okay, here's the lesser curvature from here to here. Here's the greater curvature. The lesser curvature has membranes extending from it to the liver and to the dorsal body wall, and holds the stomach, the liver, and some of the other organs in their place. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, then the other question was the lesser. I don't know how to pronounce it. Like Ottoman, right?
Lesser omentum. Okay, the lesser omentum is the membrane. It's not shown here. Okay, not shown in this one that we landed on. It's the membrane that joins the stomach to the liver and to the body wall. Okay, all of our organs are joined together in the abdominal cavity. If they weren't, they'd just be flopping around all over the place. I'm looking to see if another one has it. Okay.
You said the stomach and the liver, right? Like the membrane that connects to
Yeah.
both.
Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Okay. You got quiet. This one's good. Here's the stomach and the lesser curvature. Here's the lesser omentum here. It's grabbing a hold of the stomach here, liver here, and the dorsal body wall in the back, but you can't see that in that direction. This is the lesser omentum. Let's see if we can find it labeled. No, we got a different name for it, atogastric ligament. And I like lesser omentum. They're both good. Here we go. Lesser omentum. Here.
Okay,
Lesser curve.
so the lesser omentum connects to the liver, and the greater omentum connects to the diaphragm.
No, the greater omentum's down here.
Can you
Attaches to.
click that? Can you make it larger, please? Can you make it larger? That picture.
Charlie, if this is helpful, you have a picture for us on the lecture from 922 on the last 2 pages.
Yeah, because that link that's not my link. It didn't go there. Usually, if I click on it, it gets larger, but that one's not.
I think you can right click it or something like that, and like.
No.
There you go.
Here it is. Don't worry about the notations and stuff here. Okay. Now here they're calling it gastrohepatic ligament, but this is the lesser omentum. Right here. Right here. Okay.
And so, just a really quick question: the greater omentum connects to like the intestines, I'm guessing.
No, it doesn't. It hangs free and covers the abdominal organs. It contains fat and it insulates but it does not attach.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You offer a quiz question that, like, true or false is a lesser momentum attached to the vector. That's true, correct?
Well, the problem is one of us is having trouble with the
Hey, Lynn,
voice.
you cut out really fast. Can you repeat that again, please? You cut out.
Oh, sorry. Is there lesser momentum to the lesser curvature? Is that true?
You're not.
Try typing it out because you seem to like be cutting off every like mid sentence.
Who is it? Me or her?
Her.
It's Leah.
Yeah.
It's Leah.
Sounds like outer space. I'm sorry. If you're hearing me fairly clearly, as we do, then I can't answer your question, Mina. Why don't you write it out and send it to me? If nothing else. Okay. Are you still with me?
Yes.
We're waiting for
Okay.
Leah as a question right now, so we're waiting for her now.
I think she was asking if the lesser omentum is attached to the liver, like the stomach to the liver. True or
Yes,
false?
it is.
I
Yeah.
think, excuse me, I think her question was about the practice quiz. One question in the practice quiz regarding greater momentum and lesser momentum. She was asking about that question in the practice quiz. Maybe I can find the question.
Do you know which practice quiz it was?
I'm not sure. Let me see.
Okay, this isn't going to go very far if we don't, you know.
Who asked the question?
The question was asked by, I think, Mina, but it couldn't understand the speech.
It wasn't me, Professor.
Okay, thank you. Then I don't know who asked the question.
You can hear me?
Leah.
Yeah.
Leah.
Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear me clearly?
No, you're coming across like a steel bearing in a kettle. Part of it.
You're like cutting off. So.
Leah, can you just type it in the chat and then we can ask them?
Did.
She did.
I don't see your question. What?
I don't see it either.
Never mind. Am I like better or awful?
You're just still the same.
Damn. Never mind.
You guys don't have control of your screen, do you?
What do you mean?
Are you able to control any portion of your screen when I've sort of locked you into mine?
Yeah, we can on our end, but I think it's just a connection issue with like the internet, so to
No,
speak.
yeah, that could be. But my question was, can you tell me where the question is that you want to ask? I mean, if you can control your screen, then you can go back into Canvas, I imagine.
Excuse me. Sorry, I think it was under week 6.
Okay.
And maybe question 12 that says the lesser momentum is attached to the lesser curvature, false or true? I think her question was about this.
Yeah, that sounds kind of right to what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. It says the lesser momentum is attached to the lesser curvature. True.
But my answer was false, and the false is the right one.
Well, if that's the case, then it got messed up for a second. Let me fix it.
Okay, first time I choose true, and it was not accepting as a correct one.
Okay, you're right. It does say false. It's not. The question should be true. Okay, now I've changed it. And sorry about that. Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
Now it will come up correctly. Save it. Okay. I pointed out that the heart was going to be on there, including the diagrams that were on the board. By on the board, that would mean the ones that were uh, posted here, but also on the chalkboard that I showed you from my website. Don't be afraid to use that website. There's nothing contradictory there versus here. Okay, and I can show you some more of that a little bit later. Let's get through this one more here, and we'll take a break. Okay, the heart. Okay, side by side pumps. Okay. On the left hand side over here, this is going to the lungs, and on the right hand side, it's going to the body. Okay. We should know the chambers of the heart, and I really don't think there's anything extra to learn here. Uh, if you have trouble with it, tell me I'm wrong and that you need to go over something. But this systemic circulation to the body and pulmonary circulation to the lungs is pretty straightforward. It's about fist size, the heart, okay, lies diagonally in the mediastinum. Mediastinum, one of the practice questions as well. Okay. Also in the mediastinum would be the elastic arteries, pulmonary, aorta, and the esophagus, and the trachea, and also the thymus gland if we're young enough to have one. Pericardial sac. Okay, if we look at the heart here, the small diagram, I got to get this out of the way. the inner lining of all the chambers, okay, of all the valve cusps, all four of the valves. Okay. Anything blood would touch in entering and traveling through the heart is endocardium. In red, they're showing the muscular cardiac muscle, which is myocardium. And then on the outside, the very outermost layer, is the epicardium, also known as the visceral pericardium. A loose sac fits around the heart, and that's the parietal pericardium. Here they are again, epicardium, myocardium, endocardium. The major cardiac blood vessels: superior, inferior vena cava, pulmonary trunk, pulmonary artery, aorta or aortic arch. The three across the top are the brachiocephalic, the left common carotid, and the left subclavian. You never have to use the word left for vessels. You do have to use the word left or right when you're talking about chambers of the heart. These are coronary arteries here. 1, 2. They originate from 2 of the 3 cusps of the aortic semilunar valve. The one on the left side immediately splits, and part of it goes around, and the other part continues forward. Nothing different here. This is showing the same thing, where the coronary artery and coronary artery diverge from the aorta. This has got to be one of the most commonly missed questions on the exam, and it's one I am sure to ask. The coronary arteries originate from the aortic semilunar valve. They're the first vessels off of the aorta. Oh, not these 3. The first vessels off are down here. They're the coronary arteries. I'm passing by some text, but here it is in picture. Here's the myocardium again, endocardium. Some of the endocardium is pocketed. This is the trabeculae carneae. Trabeculae carneae is endocardium. And then here's the epicardium out here. It's also known as the visceral pericardium. Here's the right atrium with vena cavas coming in, and also you'll have another entrance for the coronary sinus, not shown. The blood here is deoxygenated, passes through the tricuspid valve, and when the ventricle contracts quickly, it forces the blood back up, but that closes the tricuspid valve. So the blood can only go this way. It goes to the pulmonary trunk. Okay. When the ventricle relaxes, the blood tries to come back down. It can't because it inflates these cusps. There are 3 cusps in the aortic and pulmonary semilunar valves. This is the pulmonary semilunar. Tricuspid, pulmonary semilunar, and what you can see of the aortic semilunar all have 3 cusps. The only one with two cusps is the mitral. Blood goes to the lungs, comes back through the pulmonary veins. There are 4 of them. The other 2 are not showing. Enters into the left atrium through the mitral valve and then out under pressure through this, the aortic semilunar valve, and into the aorta. When the aorta enlarges and then when it presses to collapse, it's going to push blood in both directions. In this direction, it comes to a stop at the aortic semilunar valve, except for some of the blood that it allows to pass into the 2 openings and 2 of the cusps of the aortic semilunar valve to make the coronary arteries. Here's the semilunar valve when it's open, when blood is passing through. But when it comes back down, it catches these cusps and jams them shut again so that it can't fall back into the ventricle that it came from. Same thing over here. Here's the open valve. Here's the closed valve. I don't see anything here that should bother you. Do you?
No.
No.
No, I didn't think so. That's good. Now, somebody asked me about in a practice quiz. I had a picture, hand-drawn picture, pencil-drawn picture of a heart, and I actually did it twice, I think. One time I had the picture of the heart, and I had numbers going to it, and well, why talk about it? Just do it. Okay, this one didn't involve any clicking or anything like that. I wanted to know what these items were. Well, why did I start with number 52? Because I snatched this from a previous test. Okay, it works just as well here. All I want to know is what is 52. When we look at it here, I was hoping that you would realize, since this is the pulmonary trunk, this must be the pulmonary semilunar valve. Find pulmonary semilunar valve. It's listed as AB. So that is 52. I want to see if I'm right. Go down here. And 52 is AB. Okay. I'm not going to have a question like this on the test. I mean, the content, yes. You should be able to identify all of the structures. Okay. So take the quiz if you need to. But I'm not going to have a test question like this, because yours will be all clickable, multiple choice. Okay, so that was one. And Okay, I guess the two practice quizzes, other than that first one, don't have a drawing in it. But the drawing very, very similar. I'll use it, and then I'll say it, for instance, question 10. There'll be a line, number 10, name the structure, and then you'll have a drop-down list to pick it from. Nothing unusual. I could put one of those together for you and post it up tonight. Okay, fetal circulation is not on there. Nope. Just remember that the indentation means it's for the test on now still Thursday. Okay. And we haven't got to those. It's a little confusing when there's so much overlap, when the lecture goes so fast or farther ahead than the lab. But that's always the way it is because there are only 4 lab sections and a lot more lecture topics. So we do overlap. Okay. But if we can keep them together this way, one of the suggestions on the discussion was, some way find to organize. Well, I'm trying this. I wish they allowed color. If I could get color, even me, I could pick colors I could see, and it would work out nicely. Okay, any questions right now? I think I've gone over all of the material for a second time, skipping whatever I thought was something that you wouldn't need again. But if there was something you needed again or want again, or even want it for a third time, get it in mind. And when we come back after about 10 minutes, okay, I will certainly go over it. There'll probably be a few people who check out, and that means you'll have a greater voice in what we look at. Okay, so 3:30.
Okay.
What's the matter, Anthony?
No, I was just thinking. Sorry, never mind.
That's your
Lost
thinking.
Lost in thought. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. I'll see you in 10 minutes.
So as of right now, we're still looking at Thursday then for the test.
Yep.
Hey, 1 second. Look at the text I sent you right past.
I don't think so. Ah.
Thank you for that. I am exhausted. I need to shave my face like crazy. I didn't know how thick my beard was. Jeez.
I'm thinking I might have to shave. It's starting to get like really itchy at work, having to wear the mask all day.
It's just a clean cut though. Mine's just a beard now. Mine's just a mane. Look at this thing.
I think it's thick though, bro. You're gonna want to like trim it, you know?
Yeah, I gotta trim it. Yeah, I have to wear a mask too, so I gotta take this thing off.
Mm.
All right, so how you guys feeling?
80%.
80% awful. I wish we had more people on camera though, but I guess we're not gonna have that.
I wish we had more participation here than we did in the group chat.
I agree with you.
Oh, whack.
Yeah, no.
You guys are fake.
You're fake.
A lot of support in the chat, but not in this.
Do it for state, man.
What time come back? Is at 3:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Bro, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Who does he think he is? My boy looks like he just came back from a 9 to 5.
Oh my god, don't get me started. Rogan, come here. Come here. Come here.
Super cute.
We don't go boys.
Oh my god, bro. Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle.
He's a poodle, not a snickerdoodle. Okay? He's not a cookie.
Your dog was a cookie, he'd be snickerdoodle.
Love the sweater.
That's such a cute dog, Nina.
That was like 3 minutes ago, my guy. Oh, it's right there.
Is it a poodle Labrador?
He's a standard poodle.
Really?
Yeah, we just don't cut him like most people, so he looks like a doodle.
He's
But
cute.
he's a poodle.
What's his name?
Rogan,
Oh, Rogan.
like Joe.
Joe Rogan. Moved
You
to
can't leave, Rogan. You have to say hi to everybody.
Oh, very cute. All right, I'll see you guys in 4 minutes. I'm gonna get a beverage.
Does anyone have to evacuate their homes because of the fires in this chat or in this Zoom group or whatever?
So who's seen Gran Torino here?
I've seen it. I don't remember very much. I remember his car is really cool. That green El Torino, right?
Yeah, dude, it's a really nice car.
That's all I remember from it. It was a one-timer for me.
Oh, really? To be honest, I kind of took me like 5, maybe probably like 10 minutes to really get into it at first because I was like, oh, this man's just a douche.
Yeah, I watched it one time and I was good. It's like a Tarantino movie or anything. It's a one-timer. I watched it once. I'm good.
That's true. That's true. Wes Anderson films are pretty good if you're into that.
Like The Crow, stuff like that. Dude, was it a 2-gallon thing of Gatorade? What was that?
Cranberry juice.
Nice.
Bro, to be honest, I used to love Gatorade. I just can't drink it anymore. Unless it's frozen. I can only have like frozen.
Frozen Gatorade?
Yeah, like slushy type of thing.
You get like a movie theater, like a Pepsi frozen, like a slushy Pepsi.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of like that. Like I'll probably, if it's super, like I'll leave it in the fridge and then cut it in half and then put it in the blender, like have it slushed up.
Have you killed a lot of people, Jesus?
A couple, bro. A
Yeah.
couple. Dexter taught me well.
I'm just kidding, man. All right.
Okay,
We're all recording.
they were still recording. Yeah, that's all recorded.
Everything.
Your conversation.
Oh, we're just kidding around.
I know. I was disappointed that it wasn't something, juicy.
Bro,
It's like cranberry juicy. Okay, this really is your time because I'm not giving that lecture today. That would be a killer to give you right now. So, anything you would like to ask or material that you want to go over? How the test is, how it's constructed, but anything at all.
So this test on Thursday.
The test will be on Thursday. Those people who have a problem, I mean a legitimate problem, not didn't study or anything like that, will contact me, please. I'll put this out in a little email, of course, and I'll make some arrangement if I feel it's proper. Okay, but I'm thinking there's a lot of people out there who've got their hands full right now. But when you look at a group of our size, roughly 30, I'll bet you there's 4 or 5 that really have their hands full. But I bet you there's more that don't yet. I don't. I mean, I'm sitting here. I don't know where you live. When I used to live out in the canyon, that was Majeska Canyon. Oh yeah, then you slept with your most precious belongings in bed with you. So because fires were very common there, you could see the fire coming through the canyon. You could see the flames. but they had engines at every door, and it was quite spectacular, actually. I remember I would sleep with a saddle. I bought a saddle once. It was I don't ride, but I just bought a saddle, and I slept with the saddle so I could rush out with it if I had it, and a shotgun, uh, and my dog, my dog. That's it. Okay, so the test will be at 2 o'clock on uh, Thursday. If you really can't handle that, you know, best thing to do is get it over if you've been studying. But if you have to be someplace else, uh, email me. If I don't get an email, then you just missed the test. Okay. Now, Nikki, do you have your hand up for a reason?
No, am I supposed to turn that off?
First, you can't turn it on. Now you can't turn it off. I'll turn it off for you. There.
Thank you.
So just like the other tests, we have until 2:30 to enter the exam.
Yes. Yes. It's not because you couldn't enter it later, but if you enter it any later than that, it will cut you off and you won't get your full amount of time. So definitely you want to get your 80 minutes on this test, not 60, 80.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Thank you
Okay.
for answering my questions.
Thanks, Emilio.
Yeah, thanks for your help.
This test is tougher than the first one. It's the amount of material, I think, but it still comes down to 100 questions. And then we got a practicum coming up, which you should enjoy because that usually pops the scores back up again. Okay, they'll bounce around a little bit now. Okay, let's see.
Hey Charlie, is there any way we can go over what was the extra credit questions you were talking about? The something membranes of the GI tract or something?
An extra, oh, serous membranes. Serous membranes, yes. I'll do that in a second, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else want to pick something? Or just wait until we finish serous membranes if you're still around. The serous membranes, I didn't tell you that they were going to be on the test, but I wrote the test up, looked back at it, and sure enough, I put some on there. Well, that's not fair unless I make them bonus questions. So if you miss them all, your score hasn't changed. And if you get any of them right, your score goes up. So that's got to be fair. Okay. I'll go back to serous membranes then. That was in the first lecture, second lecture of the digestive system on 917. These two ran together. Getting there. Doesn't look like it was that one after all. I may have the wrong date here. The document said 1015. It doesn't matter because it's indented. It's part of our material. Let me.
That's under the yeah, cross section. Okay.
I got it. Okay, this was the cross section of the GI tract, and we may want to come back to that too. Oh, we did come back to it the other day. Here are the serous membranes, which are considered broad. Even though some of them are small, they're still considered broad. Often expansive coverings over the body cavities or the organs internally. They often secrete a fluid to lubricate the viscera of the internal organs. Here are the major ones. The parietal peritoneum. The parietal peritoneum is probably the better way to say it. The parietal peritoneum lines the abdominal pelvic cavity. In other words, if you were to get a puncture wound and it goes through towards the stomach area, it'll enter into the abdominal cavity by going through the parietal peritoneum, which is right here. Parietal peritoneum. The visceral peritoneum is the material, the broad serous membrane that covers every abdominal pelvic organ. Every organ's got this covering. So if you were a surgeon and you took a scalpel and opened up the abdominal cavity, you went through the parietal peritoneum. Now you're inside and you've got a hold of the stomach. You're touching its outer layer, which is the visceral peritoneum. The parietal pleura lines the thoracic cavity. And the visceral pleura lies on the lungs themselves. The heart is surrounded by a parietal pericardium, which helps lubricate the heart, but it's not attached to the heart. What is attached is the visceral pericardium. The main difference between these pairs that I just showed you is the word parietal and visceral. Parietal towards the outside, visceral on the organ itself. Here's the parietal pleura. And here's the visceral pleura. On the lung itself is the lung. The pleural cavity is the space. It's fluid filled. It's not just empty space between the two serous membranes. The parietal pericardium is out here, and the visceral is on the heart surface here. The pericardial space is in between them. The falciform ligament, not a ligament in the sense that it would attach bone to bone. The word gets used differently here. The falciform ligament is a serous membrane that attaches the liver to the diaphragm. In this drawing, the liver is pretty obvious, but here's the diaphragm up here. Just a section of it. The mesenteries proper, all of this material. These aren't on the body wall, so they're not parietal peritoneum. They are not on the organ, the small intestine, so they're not visceral peritoneum. They're in between, connecting the organ and the body wall. And this serous membrane is the mesenteries proper. The mesocolon interconnects the parts of the colon and also to the body wall right up here in the back. And then if Tyler's still around, or he can look at this later. Here's the lesser omentum. And the greater omentum. The greater omentum attaches to the greater curvature. And then it just hangs down like an apron. It does not attach to the organs. The lesser omentum, and you can see that this is not in English. Looks like it's German. The lesser omentum attaches to the body wall. The broad ligament connects the ovaries and oviducts to the body wall. Here's an ovary here, this whole structure, and here's the ligament, the ovarian ligament, attaching it to the uterus. This is the fallopian tube, also known as the oviduct. The broad ligament is this one here, this entire structure that joins the ovary to the body wall and to the uterus. Okay, they're not hard. Okay, anything else?
This was great. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you, Charlie.
We're ready. If anything were to happen, you would obviously like email us, correct? If there are any
Oh
changes.
yeah, be sure to check your email always.
Yeah.
You know, and same goes the other way.
Yeah, I think we're okay. My aunt actually had to evacuate yesterday, but as far as like still being able to take the test, like most students are still okay for that as well.
Are you asking? Oh, you may not have been here for the first 5 minutes.
I got here a little late. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I never mind that. No, I'm going to decide it. Okay, and
No.
if somebody really has a problem,
Thanks,
There.
Charlie.
Take it up with me. We'll get it settled.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for looking out.
Okay.
Have a nice day, Charlie.
Bye-bye, Jesus.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Charlie. Wish us luck.
I always do.
Bye, Charlie. Thank you.
Bye-bye.